I'm Mike Metz from KCMA, and we're very excited to host today's webinar. And we'd like to share the knowledge that our members have with everyone else. And Gary LeBlanc, he's Director of Major Kitchen Accounts at Richelieu. He took a group of people out to Euro Cucina, I guess it was the spring, and came back with a lot of fantastic information. And he was nice enough to spend a lot of time to get a presentation together to share with everyone about what they learned while they were out there. So, Gary, I think we can kick it off with you.
Well, thank you so much, Mike, and thanks to each and every one of you that's taken this time to join me in this presentation. Every 2 years, kitchen designers and manufacturers converge in Milan, Italy, to participate in the Euro Cucina show. Postponed since 2018, the industry was primed for a new event. And while the total number of visitors and displaying companies was down a bit, we really think it was due to the fact that no one knew if COVID-19 was going to reemerge and kill off attendance. But the show was busy, the booths full, and the attendees were just happy to get out and mingle. There were over 260,000 people from around the world that attended the show. So even though the attendance was off a bit, it sure didn't feel like it. You know, the show is really rarefied air. Kitchen industry professionals from all over the world, they come to see what the European designers have dreamt up. This is a showcase for cool, thoughtful, and whimsical ideas. Many may never make it into production, but they will serve to inspire. It's a best foot forward with style and eye-catching pop. The displaying companies are largely Italian, who lead the world in design in so many industries. There was a smattering of German companies there, but no other European manufacturers that I noticed. Now, some of these trends you're about to see will come to the United States quickly, others later, and some never will. Interior decorators, in order to justify their design fees, need to remain cutting edge in fashion. The clients they serve travel globally and are up to date on color, style, and trends. These new ideas percolate throughout the industry and they eventually work their way into the mainstream. Kitchen designers will begin to request them since the ideas will reach social media and the trade magazines, and eventually they'll work their way to the US manufacturer. Richelieu sent a team of people to Euro Cucina who snapped over 1,000 images. We boil these down into the presentation you're about to see. We also organized a tour for US customers of the top kitchen flagship showrooms in the Flora Saloni, Milan's fashion district, which is apart from the fairgrounds holding the show. We experienced detailed showroom tours, each meeting with designers who spoke up about the materials used and the reasons for the selection, which were salient points to customers. One designer said, you know, who doesn't like a good story? And we're all storytellers in this business. One US client said the Flora Saloni tour was actually more insightful than the kitchen show at Euro Cucina. And why? Because they got a chance to ask questions. As soon as they heard Americans start to speak, the salespeople ran in the other direction because they knew we weren't clients. But let's delve in and look a little bit at what we saw. We saw plentiful wood grain veneer from TFL, very dark, to extremely light. Lots of linear design. Wood grain effects on solid colors. Still a lot of marble being used, dark white and colored. Porcelain tops and doors continue to be important. Timbre doors and drawers were everywhere. We saw lots of combination of textures and finishes used, matte, gloss, registered, embossed, and all on the same job. So less open space under the cabinets, more coverage with aluminum doors, frames with clear or frosted glass, and a continuation of the nature feel coming inside. These are two very typical examples of what we saw there at the show. On the left-hand side, notice 2 drawers, not 3 or 4, and a full height door. There are pull-out drawers behind that. It's a very clean look. Wide drawer is very typical of what you'll see in Europe. This is basically a TFL using a complementary backsplash and matching countertop, glass doors, storage space underneath the cabinets, and it's all very well lit. Over to the right, notice the countertop virtually disappears. The door is coming up, and there's a back bevel at the very top of that drawer. This is a linear wood grain, deep texture in a curved fashion. Notice behind the well-lit credenza, you'll also see a wall system that has been that is very ubiquitous in Europe. But the very thin and disappearing countertops were a phenomenon we saw throughout. Europeans, of course, are also starved for space, so we did see lots of pop-up sliding tables in use. Europeans, much the same as Americans, kids were staying home, people work from home, and so they had to create additional workspace, additional work seating areas to be able to study and conduct work. So very common to see this in Europe. Again, textured melamine. Over on the right-hand side, you see an interesting use of wood grain in the drawer front, high gloss PET or lacquered melamine. Notice the thin shelves of that backsplash. That's a steel structural system. Those panels are lacquered melamine. They simply clip into place, and in those grooves support shelves that can be utilized for articles as you see displayed, but also glasses, containers for spices. It's a very interesting backsplash system, and you'll see that more as we go through this presentation. But there's a mix of materials being used and take a look at the style in the countertop there. Long, wide doors, long extended poles, thin countertops, kind of an eclectic mix of storage. It's not terribly practical, you'd see, but the designers there are just having fun. Over on the right-hand side, again, textured melamine, thin stainless steel countertop. Notice the doors are generally full height. I like these pictures for a couple of reasons. One is that backsplash and basically herb grow lights that we saw all throughout the kitchen, bringing nature back in. Grow lights were very popular in Europe. Long linear 0-dot LED lights were incorporated everywhere, and you'll see that as we go forward. Textured melamine on the left and on the right. Interesting backsplash, again, very, very thin countertops, or the appearance of thin countertops, and you see quite often used is a pocketing door. We're introducing the first burgundy into this. This is a wrapped door in PET. You did not see very much solid wood in evidence. You did see a fair amount of veneer or engineered veneer, but in terms of solid wood, just wasn't there. But I like what they've done with the overhead, which is a matching finish to the burgundy door. So an interesting adaptation. It's something similar to what KCMA offers in the UK system, or even Element would put something like on the market. Take a look over to the right, and you'll see the use of veneer and the first of this timbre material in walnut. This was all over the show. The wood frames a sequence match lacquered melamine in an abstract pattern. I thought this was a very interesting display because it's got a variety of different shapes and configurations going on there. Interesting countertop material, but also notice the shiplap vertical material and long continuous poles they're utilizing. The Gola program some of you might be using was well in evidence there, both in lit and non-lit, and a variety of different finishes. Over on the right-hand side, you begin to see the terracotta color, which was very popular. Thin countertops, wide drawers, touch to open, or no poles at all. We did not see a lot of coplanar in use, which we'd seen in past shows, but we did see a lot of single track doors that will just slide on that track and not meant to, to be able to slide in place. But we asked why we didn't see more coplanar, and they said they're just expensive, and customers would prefer the open look. So we saw that much in evidence. Lot of things going on here in this kitchen to the left. That is a lacquered melamine that's being utilized in sequence match, a gola pull. Over on the right hand side is a powdered glass acrylic, beautiful, in combination with open space and a lifter mechanism. Above the kitchen, again, you see that storage area, multi-stack over behind the kitchen. That gives you 4 different areas for storage. This sage green starts to creep in, and way behind the people, you can see the use of that vertical timbre material in walnut. That was ubiquitous all throughout the show. On the right-hand side, there's just so much going on there. It really draws the eye. There's a lot of texture, a lot of fun, a lot of visual there. We see the yellow ochre color start to work its way in stainless steel countertops, and that is a matching textured melamine that we're seeing there on that island cabinet. Just having a lot of fun with the colors. I stopped and took this picture because I'd never seen this before. This is a support for a very long glass shelf. Over on the sides, there's a beautiful locking shelf support that is available. This is just an interesting look, incorporating the lifter mechanisms. Suspended vanities, again, the vertical texture in walnut. Suspended cabinets, this time on aluminum frames using a stainless steel countertop. Again, full height doors. You see 3 drawers out at the very end. Two equal size smaller drawers and 1 deep drawer. Moving over to the left, again, the handleless look. That handle is incorporated in the door itself. Over on the right-hand side, you're seeing thin handles, a little glass partition on the island. It's an interesting design, and notice the backlit storage shelves. Don't see this in the United States very much, but in Europe, this is very popular. This is produced by a variety of different manufacturers, but it has a great look to it. Move over to the left, you're seeing 2 of the colors that were very popular. These are polymer doors. It looks like painted wood, and boy, you're hard pressed to be able to tell the lines, the manufacturing lines, and these are gorgeous. But these are, the Europeans, of course, they have ready-made doors available, from suppliers just in time. But normally we would paint that in the United States, and they're wrapping it. Over on the right-hand side, you'll see the first look at open drawers. Don't see this in the United States. You can actually see the contents inside the drawer. The jury's out as to whether that concept will work in the United States, but we saw that repeatedly. Again, textured melamine everywhere. You're seeing this pink color start to come in now. That was a favored color at the show. Pink and gray and sage, using an anthracite countertop. It's got a very striking appearance to it. The terracotta used again. This time we're going to see the door open and 0-dot LED lights. If you'll notice, the shelf is full width. That light is now flush. There's no aluminum heat sinks used anymore. The new technology of lights don't require it. And you'll see the lineals and the glass door cabinets up above. Long lineal light, 0-dot LED. Thin countertops, note in gray, and recess pull on those very wide drawers. Very common to see these big wide drawers being utilized in Europe. A couple fun things. This is a kitchen on the left-hand side that was designed by Diesel. You cannot see the pattern in that wood, but that is a solid color wood grain TSS. It's a thermostructured product from Cliff. It's gorgeous. And here we are using surface handles. They're using the panels for the refrigerator and doors for a chalkboard. I thought was kind of fun. This is the clothing manufacturer Diesel that took a shot at this. Again, we'll move over to the right. You see the integrated surface pulls, low sheen lacquered melamine, utilizing the aluminum frame up above, lifter mechanisms using textured melamine. The burgundy color comes back in again. You'll see those drawers that are open to be able to see the contents inside. Notice the cabinet on the left-hand side, thin countertop. You also got textured melamine. The cabinets are on leg levelers. Move your eye to the right. You see a variety of different materials going on here. Textured melamine in the back, well lit, flexible storage. The little pink is working its way back in. Under cabinet lights, low sheen lacquered melamine, using a textured veneer on the glass door cabinets. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful look to this kitchen. A lot of things going on here. Here we are. We're starting to see, we finally see a little bit of paint that's being utilized in here. And then over on the right, we're seeing porcelain that's being utilized for the case goods and the drawer fronts. And notice the wood drawer. That is a square joint. It's not a dovetail, but it's a square joint. You'll see a little bit look at that here in the next few minutes. But this is the first that I've seen of the harmonized interior, which we'll be talking about in just a few minutes. I took this picture on the right. This is an aluminum door and cabinetry. It's designed for outdoor. I just liked it. I just took a picture of that little grill. It's just as cool as can be. But that's all aluminum cabinetry. It's designed for exteriors. There's a company from England that makes that. On the right-hand side, there's a lot of stuff going on here that I want to point out. First of all, we saw the use of folding doors in many applications. We saw for the first time Bloom's system. Bloom's been working on it for several years, but they now have a fold and pocket door system that there is not planning to introduce to the United States anytime soon, but it will come. But it marks a departure for Bloom as they head off into that. But these are very thin doors, and look at how tall they are. And if you'll notice that there is, they're tall, but there's no straighteners on there. That's actually an aluminum frame with laminate on the front and back, and they're able to use the aluminum frame to take weight out of it. We also saw the use of MDF and cardboard honeycomb to be able to take weight out. But when I asked about the door, I said, wanted to know more about it. The designer said, "Oh yeah, it's an aluminum frame behind it, because try to move that thing into the house made of particle board." So they're quite adaptive in their use to be able to take weight out. And what about bathrooms? Well, very similar to the kitchen, soft linear wood grains, printed porcelain with marble design, marbles with a more organic look. We saw solid colors, both matte and high gloss. Off-white was mostly high gloss. Black was mostly super matte. We saw glass, tambour doors and drawers in the bathroom, and a very minimalist contemporary decor, reflective of that picture on the left-hand side. Suspended vanities, a combination of lacquered melamine, which has enhanced scratch resistance to be able to work as a countertop material. Again, the use of this vertical timber in walnut, very popular. We also saw it in rift-cut white oak. And we did see a little paint too over it, basically with a maple substrate. Suspended vanities, suspended countertop, open wall cabinets, that vertical linear look in the wall treatment. There's an inexpensive application over there to the left, but it's very interesting. I mean, it's just fanciful, but not terribly expensive to build. We're backlighting the mirror. That is basically it's an edge light with 270-degree projection of light. It's got tape on the backside, taped to that mirror. Using a full height vanity. They're using a enhanced low sheen lacquered acrylic with powdered glass in it to be able to use that for not only the faces but also the countertops. It's got a very smart look to it. Again, the vertical timbre in the wall. Couple of new fun colors incorporated in the right of center, and then a couple of the new colors as well in the wall hung vanities. In closets, no big changes in closets. Still a heavy use of textured TFL and textile light and dark patterns. Extensive use of LED lights, puck and linear. Closets are big for the Europeans. They are marching through the entire house. You'll see furniture there. You will see garages, offices, closets, entertainment centers, living rooms. The Europeans have lifted a page out of IKEA's playbook, and they're going for the whole house. I was told several years ago that Geppetto was dead. You know who Geppetto is, right? Well, he's dead. He's not coming in to to measure people's homes and do the work anymore. And once the Europeans reason that once a job has been successfully done, the homeowner is available to go on to the next room. So where do you go? I think it's important to be considering pivot strategies for the next couple of years. We don't know what the recession is going to do. We know we're going to slow down a little bit, but it's got manufacturers beginning to think about some alternatives for revenue streams. The Europeans have been doing this for several years, so they've got this process down. But we see walk-in closets. We see reach-in closets. See the linear lights on the far right hand. Those are aluminum strips that are fastened to the wall, and those panels simply clip in place. The support structure for the shelves and cabinets clip to the panels that are clipped to the frames that are concealed. It's a very interesting system for closets. And you'll see some more examples of closets here, incorporating a variety of fittings that are designed specifically for the closet application. A couple more examples of closets. And again, these are not from closet companies. This is from kitchen companies. They do multifunctional wall beds. This on the right-hand side happens to be a sofa bed with a shelf on it. That shelf you can leave the contents of the shelf on when that bed descends. The Europeans, of course, are doing quite a nice business in offices as well. So what about accessories? Well, we saw some new things. Champagne holders, coffee bottle holders, herb planters, different wine bottle storage, a plumbing management system, and so much more. Here's just some examples of storage for pantries that we saw there. Nice harmonized look. Dish storage. Cutlery inserts combined with a dark wood. We saw a lot of black interiors. You'll see some more examples of that here shortly. Full height door, pull-out drawers behind it. This is an aluminum frame door. Note how thin that material is. That is porcelain that's applied to the door. On the right-hand side, we finally see a wood drawer box. That was at Nobilia. And notice the design of the door. It's designed for the US market. But notice what they did is they dropped the drawer right in a double wall steel drawer. They didn't build an independent drawer. There's no point in changing production, but they can still show the wood look. Champagne holder to the left, deep texture in the center. This is a plumbing drawer. And then, of course, a plumbing drawer on the right-hand side, too. You can see the cutaway for the sink. Integrated interiors in light gray to either side. Notice on the far left-hand side, that's a very thin drawer. This is a trend that we're beginning to see from the major manufacturers, of very thin wall material for drawers. The last slide was one of the couple of dovetail drawers that we saw, or dovetail American wood style drawers. You just didn't see it over there. In the center is a bar sink with disposable waste, multi-bin disposable waste. You know, the Europeans, they have to separate their waste before it goes out into the trash. I want to stop at this. It's a beautiful drawer incorporating stainless steel and wood. The Europeans, car manufacturers, were really schooled by the Japanese Lexus to change their approach to interiors of cars. And the Europeans showed Cadillac, and Cadillac showed Lincoln, and the form, fit, and function has increased has gotten better dramatically. They're paying much more particular attention to where the components come together, the textures, the soft motion devices. You're seeing the same care put into interiors in Europe. And so you're seeing a much more upscale look to the interiors, a great deal more thought. It's kind of a nice little Nespresso holder on a relatively inexpensive backsplash to build. Separating waste is important. The Europeans, I learned this while I was over there, of why do they have so many drawer options as opposed to floor mounted options. And it's for automation. The Europeans are highly, highly automated, and drawer mounted systems are much easier to implement in an automated system. And I did not know that. That was one of the reasons why you see so darn many of them. We sell them in the United States, but they're not very popular. But now I know the reason why that they are. It's because of automation. That backsplash suspension system it's hidden behind those panels. Those panels simply clip in place. That is a low sheen lacquered melamine. And you got planters that hang off of it, the knife blocks, and again, storage inserts. And it's kind of an interesting look to that. Oh, and over on the right-hand side, those are wine coolers. They were over at the SMEG booth. And SMEG, they got the coolest stuff, I swear, in Europe. But those are little Fiat 500 front ends, and they're wine coolers. It's kind of cool. In terms of other things, we saw the Highboy from the style from Kesselbaumer. We saw that interesting wine bottle storage. Not that I sell this plumbing chase, but I absolutely loved it. Just, a lot of whimsical things. And that Nespresso holder had some interesting accessories that just slip over a bar that's, fairly inexpensive to have to build. In terms of drawers and drawers, we saw more handles and knobs than the previous show. The only shaker door we saw in dovetail drawers we saw was an Nobilia. We saw lots of 10-foot doors, 9-foot doors. And we're beginning to see more of that in the United States. What we also saw for the first time was an 8mm drawer side, 8mm in wood grain and fabric TFL. Back bevels were plentiful. Thin doors were plentiful, whether a hinge or mounted to an aluminum frame. Here's an example. Here's two of them. One was that very thin material I was telling you about. Here's an undermount slide supporting that. And over on the right-hand side, you see an 8mm drawer. I saw this in numerous locations, and this one happens to be in a fabric. That is a mortise and tenon joint that's holding that drawer together, and they're using the same thickness material in the drawer bottom, so it makes for a pretty rigid drawer. I saw examples of that at the IWF show in one particular booth. We're offering this material. It's very thin wall, and if you know that the drawer material is going thinner and thinner when it comes to metal drawers, but we're also seeing it now in wood, and this reflects on the fabric interior, that they're looking to harmonize around the interior by having a fabric look. It's not usual here in the United States to do that, but it's just starting over in Europe right now. Will it catch on? Will thin drawers catch on? I don't know, but it's something to keep an eye on. Here we are again in the center. That's in wood grain, the thin drawer. Over on the right-hand side, remember I said that that's a square joint. It is not a dovetail. I think it's pretty cool, quite frankly. And we're a joint like that does not have to be a dovetail. Here's a couple of interesting pictures. On the door, that is a back bevel, and that is the pull. The door itself actually extends above the countertop and comes out to the height of the end panel. And it is mounted to a drawer. So you grab a hold of the top of that drawer. That is your pull to be able to open the door. The aluminum frame door to the right-hand side opens 180 degrees, but notice the mechanism. That's incorporated in the frame itself, but the mechanism is very compact. I don't know who makes it. I just thought it was cool as can be, so I took a picture of it. But this is is the most typical style of kitchen that I saw in Europe that kind of goes to the ground baking side of it. Notice the thickness of the door and the end panel. It's very, very thin. There's a back bevel to the countertop. That door comes all the way to the top, the beginning of the back bevel. And so if anything were to spill, it's going to remain on the countertop because there's a back bevel there. It's just, it's a very cool and expressive design that really reflected what was new at the show. Some other examples of a continuous pull. In the United States, those are tough because you have those big long pulls. If you cut it, you've got to cap it. Some of you are using the Ring-O-Matic pull, which is pretty cool for that application. In the United States, it really doesn't work because we're custom sizes and we're just not making sizes that, long linear lengths, because once you cut it, you lose the finish. Deep textured doors, edge pulls, and aluminum pull over on the right-hand side with a thin reeded textured melamine. We did see some handles, the Gola center right, matching pulls on the right-hand side. Take a look at that pull center left. I just had to take a picture of it. It's just crazy. Who would use a thing like that? It sticks above the countertop. Anyway, crazy pulls. Sliding countertops were quite in evidence. Workstations, pull-out sliding tables in evidence. Lots of lights everywhere. Glass and transparency. There's another picture of that textured melamine that has the cathedral radiuses in it. It's black, of course, but it's well lit. So you saw doors in translucent frosted glass, tinted or smoked, used everywhere. It replaced a lot of open shelves that we saw in the past, and the effective openness is kept by the glass doors. Transparent glass, thin countertops on the right-hand side, suspended cabinets, well lit, aluminum frame doors, sliding. In terms of sliding and suspension, there was really no changes that we saw, but work centers continued to be hid. And we saw less coplanar door and more fold and pocket door applications this time around. Europeans like to have their kitchens disappear when they're entertaining. Here's some examples of folding sliding doors. You can see in the center, in the right, in the left-hand side. Again, in the center, you see the open space again with the drawers. They're having some fun here with, on the right-hand side, using gray countertop material, a lacquered anthracite color, and also some wood grains and floating shelves. It's got very interesting combinations. Over on the far left, we again see that full height door and two drawer combinations in a sage green, which was a new color we saw. You can see it reflected in the island. Up above, the storage for plants. Again, it's aluminum frame that's suspended from the ceiling. Quite often we saw in the center these shelves that are floating, that are mounted to structure that is attached to the wall. You see on the upper right, the UK from Kesselbaumer, and down below you'll see that framing system that is designed to hold pottery and plants and what have you. It's a little tough to see it, but down below in the far right hand column, or far right hand picture, is a grain matched textured melamine pattern. It's absolutely fun as can be. A little tough to see it, but it had a big impact and appeal. So let's talk about lighting. Everywhere we looked, there was some lighting. It's must for every application. Everything is lit to create different moods. You got 0 dot LEDs today, slimline silicone as wide as 4 millimeters in 10-foot one-piece profiles. You have wireless door and drawer sensors, Google and Alexa voice control operation, tunable from anywhere from 2700 to 6500 Kelvin. The Europeans incorporate their lights at the factory. It's not an add-on. It's a check mark. IKEA just puts them in. They don't even ask. They just build it into the price. So you see some examples of the 0 dot LEDs. Over on the right hand side, I love that aluminum frame door. I have no idea where it comes from, but I love that look. And there's that reeded material that we've seen throughout the show. It's great looking, great look. Wood grains, walnut was everywhere. You saw a lot of engineered veneer or TFL. You saw lots of linear and cathedrals, both natural and dark colors. A lot of rift cut white oak veneer or TFL. It's a lot of engineered veneer, a lot of half cathedrals, and both natural and dark colors. Here's a couple of examples. Over on the left-hand side, you see this kitchen. There's that little Nespresso container. I took lots of pictures. This must have liked it. In the living rooms where the kitchen manufacturers have drifted, they're doing entertainment systems. In one stop at the Bofi studio at the Flora Saloni, they had a similar kitchen that moved into the living room, but they had a beautiful upholstered sofa. And I asked the designer, did you buy that to complement the kitchen? They said, no, we made it. I said, wait a minute, you made a sofa? They said, oh yeah, we designed it ourselves, and we have upholsterers in our factory, and people that work with foam, and the people that work with wood turnings. And so we designed it and we built it ourselves, and we sell it right alongside our kitchens. So they've taken the step to really go all the way and incorporate the design theme throughout the home and sell the whole room. So here's just some more examples of things that we saw over there in terms of oak. I especially like that the use of that porcelain that is matched for grain flow. Beautiful. Bold and pocket doors. Textures and finishes, concrete, textile, plaster, and abstracts, very hot 3D touch, 3D illusion, geometric patterns, gloss and matte alone or in combination, high gloss and super matte. Super matte's prominent. High gloss is still the player, but we saw them combined a lot. Linens, we were there. We saw a lot of linen and also a lot of black being utilized. Someone had some fun with those pulls over there to get them to harmonize with the pattern on those credenzas. And there's concrete that was everywhere in the show in different shades of light. But this is a very popular product in Europe right now, and also in the United States. It's growing in trends. Again, the absence of pulls, lots of lights, full height doors, thin drawer sides, a nice green it incorporates with an anthracite countertop over on the right hand side. A lot of linen patterns on the interior. We see this in the case of this bedroom furniture. Marbles. Large variation of colors from light to dark. Material combinations used now more than ever. Wood with stone or marble, even metals combined. You saw a lot of glass, a lot of porcelain, suspended vanity, a porcelain sink and countertops, matte lacquered melamine. Here's just some different combination of things that are going on in terms of countertops, faucets. It's an interesting little combination over here. You see that little terracotta that's working its way into the sink, and there we have the porcelain top and end panel along with wood grain and a low sheen lacquer. So different combinations of things being used. Oh, and of course you have to stop by SMEG and see what they're up to, and that's their take on the new colors this year. We saw lots of variations of tones within color palettes. The prevalent colors were terracotta, green, blue, and a new burgundy. Neutrals are very strong, and the grays, of course, are there to stay. It's just a combination of some of the color and patterns that were put together, the various shades of colors that were being utilized. Down in the lower right-hand side, that is transfer technology for a 3D appearance. It's cool as can be. I know that EFI was working on this technology, transfer technology. I'm not sure that they're still doing it, but they're now owned by 3Form. But that is cool as can be. It really does have the appearance of a three-dimensional look to it. Very cool. So a blue with floating shelves. Again, that suspension system of the very thin shelves, it's kind of attractive. Dark blue in the center left in combination with walnut. Sage green with the deep textured panels behind it. And a couple of different combinations of green that we see. Burgundy, pink, and mauve were all featured colors. You saw some of the examples of that in previous slides. This was a popular color. I'm not so sure about that green behind it over in the far left, but you can see they were having some fun with greens and grays. Terracotta and orange were popular colors. We saw numerous examples of that. Here you can see it on the left-hand side being incorporated in the backsplash and the thin countertop. Ochre and yellow were found throughout the show. You saw some examples in the past. That picture in the upper right was taken at the Hermes showroom, and notice the colors that are there that are in the fashion. Those were colors that had worked their way right into the show. So the European kitchen manufacturers are watching what the furniture manufacturers and the clothing manufacturers do. And so their colors are spot on and topical. And yeah, we did see off-white. There was quite a bit of off-white there. These off-whites, they the white is out. We see a softer white coming in with a red, blue, or yellow base. They're similar to Sherwin-Williams colors, SW 7003 taupe white, 7000 alabaster, or 7000 ibis white. So we watched those colors throughout the show, and we're able to identify them. Black and gray, of course, still there, and not going away anytime soon. So, in summary, there was no drastic changes from this year. Kind of the world stopped for 2 years, and there was skepticism that even the show would be held. So we think the fabricators and suppliers played the safe card, but most companies' attendees were ready for a show. Again, 260,000 people attended, and there had to have been over 90 manufacturers of kitchens displayed. And it's the one show where you can actually go and see kitchens. Now, did we have any fun over there? Well, yeah, we did. I got to find out what an Aperol spritzer was. And of course, you got your Aperol spritzer truck right there on the premises. You can go help yourself. And we did take a group of customers and we did have some fun. So I want to say thank you for your time. I just a note for those of you who would consider going in 2 years. Bring along a marketing person and your engineering and someone from the engineering side, because you're going to see a lot of ideas. The engineering is going to have to implement it, and the marketing people are going to have to sell it. Bring them along with you. I think it'd be time well spent. I liken going to a show like this. You're going to spend $5,000 if you're flying coach to participate. But it's like going back to school in an industry that you love. I think it's time. I think it's time well spent, and I think it's money well spent. And that is my Euro Cucina presentation.
Thank you, Gary. And if anyone has questions, feel free to put it in the Q&A. Just to start off, Gary, you opened the presentation saying that some of these trends were going to come to the U.S., soon, some a little bit later, some not at all. Can you talk about, highlight, maybe one or two that are definitely coming, that you feel are coming pretty soon, and the ones that are not, why?
Of course, the timbre material and white oak and walnut, that's already here. I've had numerous demands for that. The colors that we see are starting to work their way into the design area. We're beginning to see demand on that because we and others offer those colors. Is it a wave? No. But we begin to see those colors working their way in because they're fashion colors, and people aren't doing entire kitchens in them, but they'll do accent pieces in them, and you begin to see those colors start to work their way in. Do I think there's a trend that will emerge over a period of time? I think there's something to be said for these thin drawers. We're still on dovetail drawers. It's the most widely used drawer we have out there. But dovetail drawers are coming up on what, 25 years old? And what's new? I believe that you're going to see some investment put in and some thought put into interiors and harmonizing things. I think there's an opportunity there for manufacturers because I think you can create a statement for clients that you have a more uniform and more thoughtful approach to your interiors as opposed to just kind of throwing it all together. I think you'll see more edge pulls. I think you'll see more touch to open. I think you'll see a cleaner, linear, more harmonized look. Whether or not we will deep six the traditional base cabinet, a B18 with a drawer over a door, that's a bit of a stretch. It certainly looks much cleaner to have a full height door, but I think that might be up to the Europeans to be able to bring that change through.
Okay, great. Next question is, what types of engineered woods do you see being used? Anything new like OSB/LSB?
I did not ask about substrates. In Europe, they are using particle board largely. It is the one thing that they do talk about over there is sustainability. I think we missed that message here. I think there is an opportunity for us to talk about sustainability. They also talk about the features of the material. These new melamines are not your father's melamines. They have self-repairability. They have antibacterial. They're anti-fingerprint. You just see and you can see that not only in your lacquers, your polyurethanes, your PETs. It's a story that I think these new panels need to be told, and the Europeans seem a lot more comfortable about talking about this material than we do. I think there's a lot of education that needs to take place in the United States, because these are consumer benefits. I mean, look, for those of you baby boomers around at Katrina, the big catastrophe with these trailers, and of course, all they had to do was open the windows for a week or so, and they'd air it out. But formaldehyde was a bad word, and yet we in the industry know that it is not, and especially the latest generation. So I think the Europeans are aware of the products that they're buying. I think we as suppliers need to do a better job of educating not only you, the cabinet maker, but in turn the consumer. Because I think baby boomers may be more concerned about having particle board in their house, but millennials could care less.
Okay, next question is, you mentioned that furniture and fashion are influencers to the industry. Who takes the lead in influencing?
Oh boy, if BOFFI, go on the BOFI website. They are the pinnacle of design, and a lot of manufacturers simply follow them. When it comes to the consumer, they're all following. Big manufacturers, very high-end manufacturers and very inexpensive manufacturers are all following IKEA, because they have the closest touch to the customer. And so they're watching them like hawks, how they market their product. I'm not talking about building a product that competes with them. I'm talking about their approach to marketing. Very, very solid market-driven company, one of the most successful in the world. Why wouldn't you pay attention to them? Although I have to say, I've run into manufacturers in the United States that wouldn't set foot in an IKEA, right? But I think you need to understand, it's like out of The Godfather, you keep your friends close and your enemies closer, right? You need to keep an eye on what's going on out there, because I think within it, look, we all have to emerge. We've all got to adapt with the changing times, and we're going to be going through some challenging times in the future. How bad, we don't know, but we need to be mindful of the fact that we are living in a world of change, and the more flexible we stay, the more open we stay to new input, new stimuli. I mean, the fact of the matter is, you came to this presentation because you wanted to see what's new, and that speaks well of you. There are other manufacturers that have chosen not to. I think it gives you a heads up.
All right, Gary, last question. Designs like the plate storage system, that seems very practical. What's the balance of having people that aren't used to that in the USA, selling that, like forcing it on them, or creating demand, which comes first?
To sell these things, you got to have them in the showroom. And I think we as manufacturers tend to leave sell the cabinets empty, honestly. And this is the type of stuff that has to be shown in order to be sold, because who knows what people want. But we do see a trend in Europe and in the United States of moving away or reducing the number of wall cabinets and moving to floating shelves or some type of shelving storage system, which means the material has to go somewhere else. The glasses and the plates, they've got to go somewhere else. So they go into the base cabinets. And so having these practical solutions of a well-thought and well-designed interior that has the place for everything, I think there's an opportunity there. I think, when my wife and I we were flooded and we redid our kitchen. One of the things we did, and we're in the business, right? My wife's the CKD. One of the things we did is we didn't put anything in there we didn't need. So we really did a wholesale clean And we found that we didn't need anywhere near as much storage space as we thought. And then everything now has a place. So I think if we look at this industry a little bit differently, I think we have within there the opportunity to improve. I mean, there's enough data out there that would indicate that consumers are ready for a change. And I think if we start to market our products a bit differently and not just leave them empty, show people the way to do things. The number one fastest growing industry in the US is mobile storage units. You know, these self-storage units, fastest growing in the US. Why? Because people collect stuff. They hang on to stuff. They hang on to so much stuff that they have to find a place to store it and pay for it. I think therein lies an opportunity for us to show our customers how to store things. And I'll leave it at that.
All right, yeah, like you're saying, I'm picturing a glass drawer backlit with all my Tupperware shoved into it. So, yeah, I think we have to change the way people do things.
Exactly. I think we need to change it.
All right, so thank you so much, Gary. I know this was a lot of work, but I know it was a passion project. So I'm sure you're open to people sending out questions to you to follow up.
Absolutely.
Yep.